In this video, we're going to take a look at the clip detail panel section in Ableton Live. So down here at the bottom of the session view window, you can see I have the audio editor, and we're looking at the editor view there. To the left of the audio waves, there are all these little panels, and they're folded up. Now, when you first encounter them, they might be unfolded. I've folded them up just so I can show them to you one at a time. But to show and hide these panels, you click on these disclosure triangles. And audio clips have 4 different panels. Clip, which gives you clip properties. Launch, which is technically called the extended clip properties. And the launch extended clip properties box here has to do with follow actions that we're going to cover in another video. It's kind of a cool concept, but it's really advanced. And then the audio utilities box here. This is one that you will use a lot. It's got the warping section, so you can unwarp or warp clips, the different warping algorithms that we're going to go over later. Gain, so you can increase or decrease the volume of a clip, and pitch, so you can pitch a clip up or down. There's also a reverse button here, so you can reverse the clip and reverse it back if you need to. Very handy panel. And then the transform panel, which is like the new interface for quantization in Ableton Live 12. Always before, in earlier versions, if you pressed the shortcut Shift Command U, this little floating box would pop up with quantization settings. Now when you press Shift Command U, this box pops up. You can quantize audio to either the current grid or these set grid increments. And so you can do that. There are a few more options with the MIDI quantization. But here, you will find that most of the time you're going to have the clip properties and the audio utilities. Those will be like the main panels that you have out when editing audio. Let's take a look at MIDI. If I go to a MIDI clip, you'll see that it still has the clip properties. And I didn't mean to leave out the looping feature here. That's in both audio and MIDI. That controls whether or not the clip will loop, very important. There's also a duplicate tab. So here I have this 1-bar loop, right? It's the length of 1 bar, starts at bar 1, ends at bar 2, and I can duplicate that. And now it's a 2-bar loop. And I can duplicate that, and now it's a 4-bar loop. So I'm going to undo that because we don't need, it's the same loop. So it has a couple of extra features there. The extended clip properties, same thing here, except it has some extra MIDI functionality at the bottom. This is one that is not in audio, pitch and time, and this allows you to adjust the pitch and timing of the MIDI notes in certain ways. I'm going to do a more in-depth video on this later, but just know that it's there. The transform panel. Again, you can quantize with this if you select quantize from the drop-down menu, or you can arpeggiate, you can strum, you can do a whole bunch of new things in this box with Ableton 12. One thing I do want to point out is that it has this transform button. And so if that transform button is on, then if you press a quantization grid size, it will instantly quantize to that grid, okay? So I'm going to undo those moves. And if I turn that off, then I can choose a quantization grid, and it doesn't do that. In order to affect it, I need to press this little circle with the arrow in it. And that executes the action. But if I know what I want, I can just leave transform on and quantize to the appropriate setting. All right. So we have a very similar box here, generate. And again, I'm going to go over all of these panels in more depth in later videos. Just know that generate is here. It's a new thing in Ableton 12, and it helps you. It's kind of like Ableton's a co-composer with you, generating things like rhythms, shapes, stacks, and what they call seeds, which are very intriguing. And you can do a lot with MIDI here. But again, if the generate feature is on, then it's instantly going to be manipulating your MIDI notes. But if it's turned off and you change it, then you're going to have to press this circle with the arrow in it in order for it to work. So most of the time you're going to have clip and probably the transform panel up for MIDI notes because quantization is such a common thing.